And hey there, it's me Mudlink, and welcome back to some more The Great Ace Attorney Adventures. So last time, we started with Case 4. Got to see, it's quite an unusual case. It's not a murder trial that we're going to be going to. It's the victim's still alive. Got to meet up with the suspect, Soseki Natsume, who's fucking weird. Also hilarious. And depressing. And of course, you know, get to see Tobias Gregson and his fish and chips that you're gonna see a lot of in these two games. And this time, yeah, we're gonna, because Sherlock Holmes is involved in this case, we're gonna be going to his house. Let's go. That cutscene looked like shit. Oh my god, that was like A1 Pictures background characters right there. How they were fucking animated. So here we go. We're in Holmes' suite. So this is where the great detective makes his living. It feels surreal to be here somehow. Is it as described in the stories, Miss? Is it as described in the stories, Miss Susato? Susato-san? Many famous cases have been solved here in this very room. Oh, I suppose they must have been, yes. I've never read the stories, so it's hard to get quite as excited about it as she seems to be. The detective chases the villain relentlessly as he disappears into the fog down an unlit London street. Oh, the thrill of it, the romanticism. Can't you feel your heart thumping in your chest? Can't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, I suppose I can, yes. So if you don't mind, I'll just stand here and soak up the atmosphere for a while longer. Please, don't mind me. She's obsessed. Well, looks like her detective friend isn't home at present. Excuse me, is anybody home? Oh, do we have a visitor? Hello, is it a big new case for Mr. Holmes? Hello. Wait, aren't you... Oh, how rude of me. I'll go make some tea at once. I'm sure it's the same girl. Miss Sato, did you see the girl who was just here? Oh yes, isn't it truly extraordinary? To think that the King of Bohemia came to this very room to ask Mr. Holmes to take on his case. The King of Bohemia? King Wilhelm Gottrich Sigismund von Ormstein. Von Ormstein. Something like that. Of course. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Forget the adventures of Sherlock Holmes for a moment, and look over there. The tea's brewed, and we're freshly baked cake as well. Ah, it's you. I knew it. Susato-san recognizes her too. Hello. Ah, there you are. I'm taking that with you as well. I was looking forward to the trial run of my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Oh, good day to you. I'm, well, the inventor, I suppose, of that machine. It's the girl who turned up at the end of Mr. McGilder's trial in the defendant's antechamber. I'd never met a lawyer from the Far East before. Who are you, having to get straight to work when you've only just arrived in London? Oh, yes, it was challenging. Well, try this tea. It's my special blend, you know. Thank you. Is tea supposed to look that color? Oh my, what a fragrant yet mellow flavor. Hooray, it's a winner! I tried blending different leaves designed to alleviate fatigue, you see. must be exhausted after your long voyage here. You have another ticklish trial tomorrow. Oh, and you're to defend the Japanese man. I do wish you lots and lots of luck. Did Mr. Holmes tell you about us by any chance? Oh, you know Hurley, do you? Hurley? Mr. Holmes to you, Shirley. I miss the old name Shirley. That's fucking hilarious. Mr. Holmes is a fellow passenger on the boat that brought us to Great Britain, you see. Was he really? Well, I had no idea. I'm afraid Hurley's out on an errand today, even though he's just returned from overseas. Wait a minute. We met this girl for the first time ever yesterday after the trial, and only briefly at that. How on earth does she know so much about us? Did she deduce all those things, do you think? And perhaps more to the point, why is she here in Mr. Holmes' suite? Oh, silly me! I haven't introduced myself yet, have I? It's a great pleasure to meet you both. My name is Iris Watson. I live here together with Hurley. Oh, Iris, is it? What a lovely name. What? What's the matter? No, wait. This can't be. Did you say that your name is Watson? What's the matter with Susato-san? Why is she so flustered all of a sudden? Yes, that's right. And what are your names? Oh, I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a lawyer from Japan. Oh, sorry. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, Susato Mikatoba. It's wonderful to meet you. Lovely. Susie and Runo. Got it. Susie? And Runo? There's more to this girl than meets the eye. I have so many questions for her. I don't know where to start. Yes, and so do I. There she is. Yeah, she's 10 years old. She has a degree in medicine. And is the author of a popular series of short stories. I wonder which ones. Anyway, before that, I examined a few things for achievements. So first, examine the violin to get an achievement. I've seen pictures of Western musical instruments like this. It's called a violin, isn't it? Of course it is. Mr. Holmes is renowned for his violin playing. Oh, really? Absolutely. It's often explained in the stories. It's inspirational, Mr. Naruhodo. Inspirational. I immediately started playing the coda, which was the closest Japanese string instrument I could find. What a shame you couldn't bring it with you to London. Oh, yes. Well, Papa was beaming when I asked him if he could buy me one. But after a while, he asked if I would only practice when he was out of the house. So now it's merely an ornament in my room. That must have been an awkward conversation. And we also have to you have to examine between the two games. You have to examine this blackboard as many times as you can. There's seven different things for it that you need for the achievement. And the first one you get is right now. Oh, that's my blackboard where I note down ideas. Oh, interesting. Let's see. Black Peter. What does that mean? Don't you want to hear what Iris has to say, Mr. Naruhodo? I'll come back to that blackboard later. Well, it's part of the achievement. You can do it now, or you can do it a little bit later after you converse with her, and then she talks more about it. I guess I'll examine it after, just to tell you. Oh, yeah, before that? No, I won't do that. It was you that we ran into yesterday, wasn't it? At the Old Bailey? Yes, that's right. You were ever so helpful. Thank you so much. Oh no, not at all. I'm so sorry we couldn't have been more welcoming. Though at the time we did have a rather large gun pointed at us. Here it is again. Like this? Thinking back now, you left with Miss Lestrade in tow, didn't you? Oh yes, that awkward witness, Gina Lestrade. Oh, Ginny? Yes, she's a professional pickpocket. So we found out. It was very naughty of her to pinch my invention like that. Are you referring to that child-destructing gun-like contraption? Exactly. So I followed her, you see, to get it back. Perhaps I should think about fitting a self-destruct mechanism in my inventions. This girl's dangerous. Anyway, I brought Ginny back here after that, so she could apologize to my trusty technician. Sorry, your technician? Hurley, of course, silly. Hurley? Yes, Sherlock Holmes. We live here together. I had no idea the great detective had such an interesting young daughter.
Daughter? Not likely.
What?
I wouldn't call him Hurley if he was my father, would I?
Well then, what is your relationship with Mr. Holmes?
Well, I expect you've found out that lodgings of any kind in London are very expensive. So the solution is to share the cost with a partner, a roommate.
Your roommates. Hope you don't mind me asking, Iris, but how old are you?
10 at last this year.
Well, what of your mother and father?
Oh no, they're not around.
Oh, I see. I wonder what the story is there. Oh yes, there is something I must ask you.
Of course. Go ahead, Susie.
I'm a very great fan of the adventures of Sherlock Holmes and...
Oh, you have a copy of Rent's magazine?
Yes, I read every issue. It's delivered all the way to Japan on a ship.
Oh, this is so exciting. My stories are being read on the other side of the world.
My stories?
That's right, Hurley is always solving such amazing cases, you see, and he tells me all about them. They really are quite fascinating. Oh, it would be such a shame if I was the only one who ever heard them, don't you think? Goodness. Last night he was telling me about a new case he just solved on a steamship traveling from a faraway land. So I was just in the middle of typing up the manuscript for the next issue before you came.
So you are the author?
Yes, I'll let you in on a secret if you like. I'm gonna call this latest adventure the Speckled Band.
Speckled Band? That's certainly very familiar.
Of course, I always change one or two details in the stories, here and there. This time, I had the idea of making a venomous snake be the cause of all the trouble.
Oh, that was Mr. Holmes's first thought as well, actually.
Yes, and of course I know that a snake might not be a credible fit for the facts of the case exactly, but... it's a story. Some poetic license is justified to make it more thrilling, I think, don't you?
So do you mean to say, are the stories about Mr. Holmes that are published in the Rant's magazine...
all written by me, yes, on my wonderful and very modern typewriter.
But all the stories I've ever read are written by a doctor of medicine, Dr. John H. Watson. So that sounds getting more and more worked up.
Oh yes, that's me. I mean, my name really is Watson.
But what about the doctor of medicine part?
That's all true too. I'm a doctor of medicine.
No, at 10 years old?
At 10 years old.
Well, that's quite incredible.
But Dr. Watson is an English gentleman. Ah yes. I did alter the setting slightly, for the stories to be more compelling.
Oh.
Well, it sounds a little strange, doesn't it? A great detective with a 10-year-old girl in tow.
I suppose it does. Yes. Poor Susato-san. She looks like her whole world was just falling apart. Oh, now we get to this. About before.
Yes, what's on your mind, Runo? Do tell me.
How'd you know? That I was a lawyer and we just arrived in London, I mean. Yes, oh, and then we have a difficult trial tomorrow. How'd you know all of that?
Oh, that's what you mean.
Please, tell us how you did it. Explain every detail.
Of course, I'd be delighted, although there's really no mystery. Now, let's begin.
Oh, she's so cute.
Iris Watson is proud to present her logic and reasoning spectacular. First of all, I knew already that you were a lawyer, Runo. After all, I met you yesterday at the Old Bailey in the defendant's antechamber.
But she also said that we only just arrived in London. How'd you know that?
I observed the passport and travel ticket protruding from your breast pocket.
Oh.
So I was reasonably confident that you must have only just arrived in the country.
And on top of that,
you accepted a case against that particular prosecutor, telling me you were unaware of London's court affairs.
The Reaper of the Bailey. I walked right into that one, didn't I?
Then I noticed a red ink stamp on the back of Susie's hand. You were given that when you visited the local prison to meet with a suspect, weren't you? Earlier today. Ah. They used those stamps to keep a close eye on comings and goings, you see. I didn't realize. And a red stamp is only used for people visiting foreign inmates. So, it told me that even though you had only yesterday concluded the trial of Magnus McGilded, the two of you had cause to visit a foreign inmate at a local prison. However, neither of you was wearing a particularly sad expression on your face, so I concluded that the prisoner was unlikely to be a friend or a relative. That led me to believe that you must have accepted a new case.
I see. How could you have known that the trial is tomorrow?
Well, having barely been home a few hours yesterday, Hurley solved yet another case. It obviously amused him. He told me that he'd caught a Japanese man who was bawling and trembling.
Japanese man? Well, clearly that must have been
Mr. Natsume. Now, Runo has that fancy Japanese sword. And I think your outfit is called the kimono, isn't it, Susie? Well, anyway, it was clear to me that you both came from Japan yourselves. So I put two and two together and decided you must be defending the Japanese man Hurley caught. And there was only one conclusion that those facts could lead me to. You both came here to ask Hurley about the case. There's a note on the mantelpiece that says the man's trial will be tomorrow. Hurley was always stabbing his notes with a knife, you know. He is silly.
It is actually a Sherlock Holmes thing to do, as well. The actual stories is great.
And that's all there was to it, really. Thank you for listening. I'm Iris Watson, and that was one of my great deductions.
You know, maybe I could have actually had this be for next episode as well. Well, you know, it's fine. More to explore this time.
Well, was it a winner? Were my deductions correct?
They were spot on.
That was amazing, Iris. Truly a great deduction.
You even managed to ascertain something of Mr. Holmes's delivery.
Oh well, I was just copying Hurley's style for that.
This is really good. This is really very good news.
You could tell us all about the case involving the Japanese man. You will, won't you, Iris, please?
The fucking hiccups. Now, goddammit, no, please don't have this be for the rest of the episode, please. So yesterday, Mr. Holmes apprehended a Japanese man, you were saying.
Yes. Hurley had just arrived back in London after his sea voyage, but the police were waiting for him at the railway station to take him directly to the crime scene.
The great detective is a popular man, it seems.
Apparently a woman was stabbed on a quiet street somewhere in town. There were witnesses who had seen a short, shifty-looking stooped man running away from the scene.
A short, shifty-looking stooped man? Mr. Natsume, beyond any doubt. So Seki-san said he didn't see anybody else in the street at all, but it seems there were witnesses after all.
Hurley used his great deductive powers to determine the man's address. There was a lodging room very nearby. He went directly there with the police, and what did they find? A short, shifty-looking, stooped man, shivering in fear.
Mr. Holmes' great deduction certainly hit the mark that time.
Of course it did. He's a great detective.
Still, that means the incident occurred only 2 days ago. Surely tomorrow is too soon for the trial, isn't it?
Definitely. We have no time to investigate properly. Hurley says that London is rife with crime.
Oh.
Scotland Yard is doing its best, but they can't stay on top of it, apparently.
Oh dear, I hadn't realized the situation was so dire.
That's why they can't afford to spend too much time investigating cases and trying the criminals in court. Staff and money are both short. Crimes are usually pinned on the first suspicious person.
Sorry for that. Fucking Christ.
That's terrible.
I suppose it's the harsh reality of the workings of the world's greatest justice system. I suppose it is, but in that case, I don't hold that much hope for Soseki-san. Thank you for answering so many of our questions, Iris. This has been very informative.
Oh, you're most welcome. I've had so much fun.
Do you happen to know where Mr. Holmes is at the moment? As you guess, you'd like to ask him some questions about this case as well.
Ah, well, I suspect Hurley's still investigating the scene.
The case involving Mr. Natsume, you mean?
Yes, Mr. Nuts. May. May. Oh, Mr. Nuts. May. Surely Hurley said he was going to the man's lodgings. If you leave now, you'll probably catch him there.
Iris, do you know where those lodgings are?
Well, I imagine the police are still investigating the scene of the crime themselves, aren't they? Did you happen to come across a detective by the name of Gregson when you were there?
Yes, we know Inspector Gregson.
Ah, goody. In that case, give Gregsy this for me, would you? If you do that, I'm sure he'll tell you what you want to know.
What is this?
5-shilling piece and a postcard, it seems. It reads, "Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem." Gosh, this will make the inspector help us, will it?
Well, thank you, Iris. We'll give it a try.
Good luck, then. I'm going to return to writing my manuscript, The Speckled Band. I'll be making more special blends of tea, so come back again soon. We'd be delighted. Thank you so much, Iris. Well, Miss Naruto is back to the scene of the crime.
See, I could have ended it off here. Thought it would have taken longer to do this thing, but whatever. So, somewhat dubious that they would exert any influence over the men of Scotland Yard at all. Alright. We headed back to the scene with Iris's curious note and one of the world's heaviest silver coins in hand. To be continued.
Investigation Part 2.
Back on Briar Road. Looks as though the police are still here, carrying on with their investigation.
Perfect. So let's find Inspector Gregson as quickly as possible.
Yes, and let's see if he'll take a break from his chips to look at that silver tip Iris gave us for him. Inspector Gregson, do you have a moment?
I'm sorry to say I don't. I'm a very busy man. Much too busy to talk to a pair of foreign gadabouts, that's for sure. We have these for you. A present from Miss Iris Watson. What? For me? From my ladyship?
Her ladyship?
Give that here at once. Come on, hand it over. That's for me. Wait, don't wait for me to give it to you, will you?
What was that coin exactly?
It's a silver crown, obviously, but it's a lot more than that. It's an appearance fee, that's what it is.
An appearance fee?
Oh, I see, you mean...
That's right, for the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Her ladyship always offers me a little financial reward for featuring me, every time.
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. I know all about your exploits, Inspector. I read them avidly.
Of course, using my name without my say-so does make me the butt of a lot of unpleasant jokes, but still. I'm sorry, Inspector. That must be difficult for you.
Never you mind that. So, what do you want to know then, eh?
Sorry?
Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem, it says. Well, obviously it's not a problem. Go on, fire away. What do you want to know?
Well, if you wouldn't mind, Inspector, we'd very much like to know the address of Mr. Natsume's lodgings.
Ah, little knife-wielding, mustached Japanese fellow. He lives in a right old hovel. It's just over there. Look. On the first floor of that house on the corner where that wreck of a bicycle's propped up.
That is nearby indeed.
If I remember rightly, the landlord is a Mr. John Garrideb. Right, well, if you see her again, you make sure you give her ladyship my regards, you hear? I mean it. You tell her that Gregson sends his very best wishes.
Don't worry, Inspector, we will.
Goodbye for now, then. And long live her ladyship.
Well, at least he told us what he wanted to know before he left. Yes, so then, shall we go and see what we can find in Mr. Natsume's lodgings?
Definitely. Before we do that,
We're actually gonna go to Holmes' suite here. Let's examine everything here. So first, what we're gonna do... examine the blackboard again.
oh, that's my blackboard where I note down ideas.
Black Peter, what does that mean?
Oh, how intriguing. It must be the title of Iris's latest work. Oh my, I wonder what fantastic tale awaits us.
Susan looks like an angel, but I bet she's dreaming of the most grisly crime you could imagine.
It's a case that Hurley solved just recently. A black cat called Peter went missing in the neighborhood. Hurley tracked it down at the fishmonger's in the end.
Remember correctly, that is actually a reference. Right? Hang on. Uh, okay, no, it is nothing.
Well, I can't wait for the story to be published.
It isn't a real Sherlock Holmes book. I was looking it up, I couldn't remember if it was.
Look how cute she is.
What on earth is that big black lump over there?
Ah, that's a typewriter. It's a machine that allows you to write on paper without needing a pen. And wizardly quickly, too.
Oh, that sounds like it could be very, very useful for someone like me with terrible handwriting.
Wait, Iris, are all the stories from the adventures of Sherlock Holmes? Yes, everyone typed on this trusty machine. Oh my goodness! How wonderful!
Susato-san looks like she's been shown into the Tokyo Imperial Palace gardens. It's a charming little white shelf, and full of charming little bottles too.
Oh yes, but don't touch any of those. They might explode.
Explode?
Are they exotic chemicals? Do you use them for exciting experiments? Yes, indeed. And as Hurley always says, chemistry is an explosive science.
Sorry?
I agree, a single discovery can trigger an explosion of innovation all around the world.
Or perhaps he just meant it literally. By the way, mental note, don't touch any bottle that belongs to Iris.
Oh, new tea set.
What a beautiful English tea set, and so neatly arranged.
It's a favorite pastime of mine. A cup of herbal tea in the afternoon.
Tea made of herbs?
That's right. I grow all sorts of herbs here in the garden so I can experiment with different blends. One moment, don't go away. I'll brew a pot of the special blend I came up with earlier today.
She looks delighted. I only hope it's safe to drink. A mystery shoe, a curious hammer, some mysterious dancing men, a bust of Napoleon.
Ah, what an entrancing collection.
This is the first time in my life that I've seen a lonely old shoe displayed as an ornament.
Oh, those are all mementos that Hurley has collected from his past cases.
Really, even the bust?
Yes, that's right. When the mood takes him, he likes to throw it on the floor and smash it to dust.
Poor defenseless emperor? Mr. Holmes destroys it?
Yes, and then he buys a new one.
You make it sound like he has the temperament of an insane sculptor.
Oh, how entrancingly bohemian of him.
Here's the fireplace. Here's the fireplace. I do like this fireplace. It's one of the best things I've seen since we arrived in the country, in fact. Lingering beside the fire and watching the flames flicker and dance in the grate. Ah, it's so relaxing. We can't relax, not when there's so many interesting things on the mantelpiece. Oh, it's just as it was described in the stories. It is? Yes, exactly. Inside that Persian slipper, for example, are my chocolates for 11s. Chance fixed by the large jackknife is my shopping list for the market. Oh, it's not quite how I remember it being described in the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Of course, Usada-san, she looks crushed. Looks like that huge metal chest is being used as a table for tea and coffee. Seems very sturdy with an equally sturdy lock. Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't go around opening things. I always have to keep an eye on you, don't I? You're very mischievous. How'd you come to that conclusion? Oh, that chest contains some of my most valuable things. That smile tells me you're not going to give us any clue about what they are. There's all sorts of these on the there's all sorts on these shelves: chemistry apparatus, books, papers, and lots of things I've never seen before. It's all heaped up so high, I can't help but feeling that the whole lot's gonna topple at any moment. Hang on a second. It's fucking raining right now, like quite a lot. I keep telling her they're not to cram so much on those. I keep telling her they're not to cram so much on those shelves. Good advice. You wanted to look something up in one of those books a while ago, but it was so tightly wedged in he couldn't get it out, so he went and bought a new copy instead. Examine the violin again. I've seen pictures of Western musical instrument like this. It's called a violin, isn't it? Of course it is. Mr. Holmes is renowned for his violin playing. No, really? That's right. I just sort of slipped that in. You did what, Iris? I didn't really give it a lot of thought and just started adding it into the stories. Yes, Mr. Holmes' exceptional violin playing has been mentioned a number of times. But the truth is, Hurley had barely touched a violin in his life up to that point. Oh. Of course, people started asking him to play for them after my stories were published, and he wasn't able to tell them that he didn't know how. What did he do? He went straight to the pawn shop and bought himself a very nice violin, and then he practiced. He practiced until his fingers were nearly dropped off. That must be why he's so highly strung. Before I knew it, he'd become rather good. The greatness of the great detective really shone with that experience, I think. It was a great deception, that's for sure. What on earth is this huge over-the-top machine? That's the great analytoscope. It can analyze anything, really. Anything at all. That's absolutely incredible. It's one of Hurley's inventions. It took him a whole year. He said it was to help him with his investigations. What sort of things does he analyze with it? Do you know? Well, actually, he hasn't used it for anything yet. Oh. Why not? Apparently, on the evening he finally completed it, it suddenly occurred to him, I don't actually have anything I need to analyze. Oh dear. How about you, Runo? Do you have anything you'd like to analyze? The only thing that springs to mind is this machine itself. And let's see this. Why are all those bullet holes in the wall up there? Is Mr. Holmes trying to shoot a pestry fly or something? Mr. Holmes would never do something so reckless. No. There's those the letters VR standing for Victoria Regina. It's Latin for Queen Victoria. So you mean he shot the Queen into the wall? In a moment of boredom, Mr. Holmes adorned the wall with a patriotic sign, that's all. As pistol practice. Right, that makes perfect sense now. It's exactly as it's described in the book. Oh, this is delightful. I'm not sure that the real explanation is any less reckless than shooting at a fly, personally. It's patriotic, Miss Naruhodo. Patriotic. See, that's a little fun there. You don't need to actually do that. right now, but I mean, it's funny. Here's Mr. Natsume's lodgings.
Hmm. May I help you?
Oh yes, would this be the residence of Mr. John Garrideb?
Indeed it would, sir. And who I may say is calling?
My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I am... Mr. Naruhodo is representing Mr. Soseki Natsume. I believe he takes lodgings here. We would very much like to ask him some questions about our client.
One moment, please. I shall convey the message to Mr. Garrideb.
Do you see that, Miss Suzuto? That was a real-life English maid.
I know, as I understand it, anyone of standing in English society employs a number of household staff.
That was the first I've ever seen one in the flesh. Oh, this day keeps getting better. Certainly feels like we've really arrived now, doesn't it? We need only to meet a butler, and the experience will be complete. Also, Naga look close enough. Well, I'm not sure if I'd go that far, but I understand the sentiment.
Thank you for waiting. Mr. Garrideb will see you now. This way.
This man's just built different.
Good day to you. John Garrideb at your service.
Pleased to meet you, sir. This is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. He's a defense lawyer.
Do excuse me not getting up. Took a shot at the knee a few years back in the Battle of Maiwand, don't you know? Earned a medal for my pains, but had to withdraw from service. Handed over the reins to the up-and-comings.
So he's a retired soldier.
It's a hell of a job getting up and down the stairs now, I can tell you. Don't get out much, as you can imagine.
Yes, it's quite a climb up here to the second floor, isn't it? I was panting at the top of the stairs.
You really must take more exercise, Mr. Naruhodo.
Ugh, do you think so?
Oh, Mr. Garrideb, no doubt you were very courageous to earn yourself a medal. Oh, it was nothing. The medal's just a folderol, really. Wouldn't like to offend the general, though, so I begrudgingly displayed it on the wall. Why don't you fetch it down, Joan? Let these good people see it properly. Joan, fetch the... Ah! Dash it all, woman. Be careful. Oh, dearie me, I do beg your pardon, sir. You jolly nearly took the skin off my hands. I should be more careful, sir. So anyway, there you have it. Living the quiet life now.
Yes, I see.
Now then, I hear you want to know about the chap lodging downstairs. Is that right? Is that right?
Yes, we'd be very grateful if you could answer some questions for us.
Only two, please, naturally, especially if it helps to keep the peace here in Blighty. We've forged an alliance with the Empire of Japan recently, and as I'm sure you're aware. So this case is very much in the public eye, as it were.
Oh, is it?
Even had some famous detective poking around, you know. In this old house, would you believe?
Yes, Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
Could have been. Didn't catch the chap's name. Not really my cup of tea, all that detective business.
Oh, but you have a copy of Rance magazine here, so...
Eh? No, Anyway, a chap's investigating the foreigner's room as we speak.
So he's in Soseki-san's room.
It's a bally nuisance, is what it is. The whole neighborhood's twitching its curtains now. I don't like all this fuss. It's jolly unsettling.
Yeah, here's it. John Garrideb. So,
let me talk about this and rant about this. So here, John Garrideb. There was a story from Sherlock Holmes called The Garridebs. Now, this was when it came to the story for The Garridebs, this was seen as a reason why the Conan Doyle estate might have sued Capcom if they localized this game when it came out on the 3DS. Because this is one of the few stories from Sherlock Holmes that wasn't put into the public domain. I don't know if it is now. I think it is now. If it's not, then it'd be stupid if they decided to just not change their names here.
So it kind of makes no sense to me that they worry about like copyright stuff when it comes to, you know, Iris, John Watson, and Sherlock Holmes when it comes to like localizing this game, the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. And they changed their names here, but then they kept this name, the one that was seen as like the potential reason why the Conan Doyle estate would have sued. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I really don't get it. But whatever. Yes, it didn't matter too much because you had Tobias Gregson in this. So yeah. Whatever. Whatever. How about Mr. Natsume then, Mr. Garrett? Please do tell us. Oh yes, the Japanese chap. Only been lodging here for a week. Oh, just 1 week? So you moved in very recently then? I have 2 lodgers most of the time, one on the ground floor and one just below us. The first floor became available a week ago, you see. There'd been... Ah! Dash it all, Joan. Do be careful. Oh my goodness. I'm terribly sorry, sir. You want to know my opinion? I thought he was a shady sort of from the moment I set eyes on him. Oh, why? He seemed to have a most nervous disposition, always shaking and looking over his shoulder. The man had shady written over his sweat-soaked brow, if you ask me. I said to myself, Joan, that man is trouble. Sooner or later, he's going to do something untoward. And I'm really wrong about anything. We won't be calling this maid as a witness, that's for sure. Is there anything else that struck you as suspicious about the man at all? Yes, oh yes, indeed there was. And she's dying to tell us. Do you notice anything else at all about your lodger, Mr. Natsume? Mr. Natsume? Oh my word, yes, the man was shadier than an orchard. Could you elaborate? Well, take the man's room, absolutely stuffed full of books. It is more than anyone could ever read. And he never so much as passed the time of day with another living soul. I haven't seen a single visitor call. He just trots off to that old bookshop every single day, and comes back at 5 to light the gas fire. And the funny little man is up long past the time everyone else in the house had gone to bed too. Oh, I see. The gentleman on the ground floor goes to bed at around 9 each night. We've never known that Japanese fellow to retire any earlier than 2 in the morning. Could you clarify something, I wonder? What, pray? How do you know so much about Mr. Natsume's routine? Oh. I'd understood that neither of the lodgers live on this floor of the house. Is that correct? That's right, yes, they're both below us, on the first floor and street level. Then how is it that you know so much about the lives of your lodgers? At precise times that they come back in the evening and, for example, even the times they go to bed. Ah! Good grief, Joan, be more careful, woman! Oh, my goodness, sir, I'm terribly sorry, sir. Something doesn't add up here. It seems that the incident took place at around 5 in the evening. Did you look out the window at around that time? The window? The window. Yes, you notice that the window over there looks out over Briar Road. The incident took place on the pavement just on the far side of the street. Was there anyone suspicious loitering nearby? 5 o'clock is dinner time in the Garadep household, so I'm afraid I don't remember seeing anything. How about you, Joan? No, sir, it would have been dusk outside already at that hour. And with the fog as well, I should think it would have been quite impossible to see the other side of the road. Oh, I see. Did you notice anything else out of the ordinary then? Such as? Anything at all, even if it seems unrelated. Well. Yes? Was there something then? Well, it's nothing particularly significant, but at around that sort of time in here, there... Ah! For the love of God, Joan, watch what you're doing.
Oh, dearie me, what have I done? I'm awfully sorry, sir.
Do be more careful, woman.
Of course, sir. If I may, Mr. Hollow.
Yes.
I have an exceedingly good memory, and as far as I can remember, nothing of any significance took place here at that hour. Nothing at all.
Oh, really? Mr. Garrett? The way you were talking before, it sounded rather like there might have been. Oh, well. As I was saying, it was just a trifling matter, really. Nothing of. Ah! Joan, dash it all. What is it? What is the matter with you, woman?
Begging your pardon, sir. Nothing happened.
Yes, quite. Nothing happened. We sat down to a peaceful, quiet, uneventful meal. Joan?
That's right, Mr. Caradeb.
What is the matter with these two?
Sounds like something happened here in this room on the evening of the incident. But what?
Wish I knew. Could you tell us which floor Miss Natsume's room is on? Why, certainly. Just below us on the first floor.
Mr. Holmes is investigating there as we speak? Even as we speak?
Yes, told me not his name. Had asked him to look into the matter, so I gave him the key.
Mr. Natsume has engaged Mr. Holmes' service?
That's a blatant lie. Would it be alright if we also had a look around Mr. Natsume's room, I mean? Don't see why not. Just one flight, it's just down one flight of stairs. And also if we'll find anything that could help us with the case, but we have to try. We need all the clues we can lay our hands on, shall we?
Yes, and while we're there, we can speak with Mr. Holmes again. Perhaps he'll be able to tell us more.
If I remember correctly, actually. No, you can't present anything to him yet. Then we go into Mr. Natsume's room here.
Look at the kitty!
What? Just look at this place. And smell it. It's so musty in here. I suppose it's the mountains of old books that are responsible for that.
I don't think I've ever seen so many books in all my life.
No, me neither.
It's so dark in here, too.
Is that the window over there? Well, it was the window, I think, yes. Once upon a time. For some reason, it's been closed up with bricks and mortar. So this is where Mr. Natsume lives.
By the way, I haven't spotted Mr. Holmes anywhere, have you?
No, that's true, but according to what Mr. Garrett told us, the great detective should be around here somewhere investigating.
Kitty! Don't get a kitty!
Sorry, I like cats.
Oh my, what an adorable little cat. Perhaps he's looking after all the books while his master is away.
I don't know about that. It disappeared into that pile of books as quick as a flash. It was a tricolor Mikey, wasn't it? I don't know what it is. Do they even have that sort of cat here in Great Britain? Mike. I don't know.
Perhaps Mr. Natsume brought the little creature with him from Japan.
That's made me feel homesick now.
Already? We've only been in the country for 2 days.
Forget, we've traveling around for fucking forever.
Look, it's a beckoning cat from home.
It's a bit big and bulky, isn't it? Surely Mr. Natsume didn't bring that Maneki Neko all the way from Japan with him.
I hardly think you're in a position to comment, Mr. Naruhodo. Are you forgetting the enormous Daruma doll that you brought in your luggage?
Well, it can be dangerous traveling abroad. I want a lucky charm.
Well, I imagine Mr. Natsume wanted the same. This cat is sure to beckon good luck to him.
Not doing a very good job so far, is it?
You mustn't say such things.
I didn't say a word. Why are my eyes such a giveaway? Yeah, that's how they can see what he's talking about in his head. His eyes just give away everything he fucking says. This appears to be some sort of meter on the wall here. It looks very robust. Wonder what it's for. There's a slot for inserting coins here too.
I believe there's a gas meter, Mr. Naruhodo.
A gas meter?
Yes, it seems that there is piped gas in this district, which consumers pay for by putting coins in the meter.
So if we were to put a coin in the slot,
That would be enough gas to use the lights and gas fire for the whole night.
so if you're too poor to have a coin, you'd have to spend that night in the dark and freezing cold.
That's right, as would a rich man who only carried crisp white notes.
London's a scary place.
It thus seems to be wedged into a crevice between the mountains of books on either side.
Suppose Mr. Natsume would sit there and read while stroking his cat. Surrounded on all sides by these towering old tomes, surely he dreamt of books every night as well.
Yes, he must have done, mustn't he? Oh, what's this? It's a receipt from a second-hand bookshop. Your books.
Ah, dumb name.
Oh yes, Mr. Natsume's name is on it, look. And the date of the purchase. 2 days ago at 4:45 p.m.
That's the day of the incident.
That's just a short while before he was embroiled in the terrible attack. He must have been on his way back from buying some old books.
You got the 3 books there. Look at all those books stacked up there. They almost reach the ceiling.
They're all works of English literature, and they all smell so musty.
With this volume of books to hand, you'd never be short of reading material, would you?
No, what a dreamy idea.
A bad dream, maybe. For me, at least. Mind you, I don't imagine the book that's at the bottom of the pile now will ever be read again.
Ah, so reading is an experience that comes but once in a lifetime. It's just as the tea ceremony teaches us.
I certainly didn't expect the conversation to turn down the path of tea ceremony philosophy.
Ah, there he is. Oh, there I am. Reading a book. Ah, look, Mr. Naruhodo.
Aha, there he is. Where did he appear from?
He seems to be engrossed in the pages of an old book. I hope he won't mind if we disturb him. Hello, Mr. Holmes. Ah, you two. Good day. Now, let me see. Where was it that we met? Oh, Mr. Holmes, we were together on the SS Buria. Yes, of course, the Buria. And let me see. What happened on that voyage?
It's Kazuma Sogi. He died, tragically, but you were a great help to us.
Oh, yes, but of course. The case of Mr. Osogi. It was the one with the snake, wasn't it?
Oh. Well, you seem to remember something of it, at least.
What an honor to be remembered vaguely by the great Sherlock Holmes. This is Mr. Oh, no, my dear madam, hold your tongue. I pride myself on my superior powers of recollection. Your names are safely recorded in my brain attic. Miss Naruhodo. And Mr. Susato.
Try the other way around, Mr. Holmes.
Ah, I lose the first round. In truth, I had hoped to invite you both to my Baker Street suite the day we arrived in London. But some Scotland Yarders ambushed me at the railway station and whisked me away to a crime scene. It was an entirely trivial case, of course. I solved the matter in no more than 30 minutes.
So they apprehended Soseki-san in that short an amount of time?
I'm afraid the pursuance of a new case has dulled my recollection of my past involvements a little.
A little?
It's a mistake to think that one's brain attic has elastic walls and can distend to any extent. I do my best to forget useless facts, lest I should elbow out the useful ones. Yes, those are my own words of inimitable wisdom, you know, from an adventure entitled A Study in Scotland.
Please, there is no need to quote yourself.
I hate inimitable. Inimitable. I always have a hard time saying that word. I don't always remember my pearls of wisdom, but fortunately, my associate pens them beautifully.
He means Iris, I suppose.
Mr. Holmes, we have some extremely important questions to ask you about the trivial case you just mentioned. Goodness, what an earnest expression. My dear madam, I should be only too pleased. And this murky room is an apt place to discuss the murky case.
Here's my badge.
Mr. Naruhodo, please. Despite aspersions to the contrary, I'm a professional. If I'm to unleash my deductive powers on that trinket, I must ask for a sum of £3 in cash.
I don't need you to make any deductions, but I was just wondering if you might know.
Mr. Naruhodo, as a professional, I insist that if I am to offer my opinion on that trinket, I must ask for a sum of £3 in cash.
believe Mr. Holmes has his eye on an expensive copy of the complete works of Shakespeare.
Yes, to stand on the stage amid rapturous applause. It has long been a dream of mine, as you know.
I literally had no idea. We know this to be the lodgings of a Japanese foreign student by the name of Saseki Natsume. Seems that you assisted in his arrest, Mr. Holmes. The stabbing of a young woman outside here on Briar Road.
Natsume, yes, I believe it was a name rather along those lines.
Mr. Natsume denies it. Was it really justifiable to arrest him on so little?
I'm sorry, Miss Suzuto, but I have not the slightest idea what you mean. What?
Can't believe he was looking Suzuto-san squarely in the eye while feigning ignorance.
I assure you, I am not merely feigning ignorance. It would appear as if the pair of you are under some misapprehension.
Oh, how?
I assure you that I have no recollection of accusing your astute compatriot of the crime.
That doesn't make sense.
Good Detective of Scotland Yard made the following request of me, and I quote verbatim. We need you to ascertain the identity and whereabouts of a man seen fleeing the crime scene.
Ah, man, seen fleeing.
There were a number of books scattered on the pavement of the scene. From the book plates, I was quickly able to determine the bookshop from which they had been purchased. On speaking with the proprietor, I was immediately led to this address. Elementary, wouldn't you say? I believe there's a receipt around here somewhere from the establishment in question.
So you don't think Mr. Natsume is the culprit then?
That I could not tell you. But it was aggravating my faculties, hence why I returned here. However, this place is such a trove of fascinating books, I find myself quite lost in bibliophily. Do not be deceived into believing that I am a man of leisure. No, no, no.
Oh dear.
Ah, tell me, have you encountered the landlord of these lodgings?
Yes, Mr. Garrett, a retired military man.
It was the first time I've ever met a soldier from the great British institution that is the services.
And it was the first time I've ever met a maid from the great British institution that is service.
Ah!
I didn't think it was that funny.
I do apologize.
Oopsie.
As you may well be aware, many households in London employ a maid. Yes, I read as much in my Great Britain primer. And so, conversely, whether or not a household employs a maid has come to betoken the social standing of those dwelling therein.
Betoken their social standing? Sorry?
Put simply, my dear fellow, those who employ at least a single maid are considered middle class. Those who do not are beneath that. In the upper echelons of society, of course, households employ enough staff to constitute a large family. Goodness, how extraordinary. As you can appreciate, for those on the precarious boundary between the middle and lower classes, being able to afford just one maid is of the first importance.
I had no idea.
And it is for precisely that reason that I find great stimulation in the situation upstairs. Specifically in the retired Army veteran, Mr. John Garrideb.
Oh?
Affable as he is, the fellow is hiding something. Whether or not it imposes on the circumstances of this case, I am as yet unable to ascertain.
Thoroughly lost on what he means to say.
This room is thoroughly suffocating for the soul, my dear fellow. I assure you, any man whose lot is to dwell in a place such as this will stab somebody sooner or later. Mr. Natsume has stabbed no one. Ah, but sooner or later, as I said.
I don't believe that's the issue here. About this dark little room, Mr. Holmes. Why is there no longer a window? Do you have any idea?
No window.
Well, I mean, I can clearly see that there's a window of sorts. But it's been completely blocked with bricks.
Oh, I see. The answer to that question is quite simple. Window tax.
Window tax? What is that?
Surely, not a tax on windows. Precisely that. Oh my goodness. Until relatively recently, a tax was levied on households in this country by the number of their windows. Those of lesser means, having inherited a sizable and costly family home, perhaps rapidly closed windows up. While the rich opened windows here, there, and everywhere, in an effort to curry favor with those in power and by furnishing them with large sums of tax money. How awful and unjust, forcing people to live in rooms devoid of light. Indeed, Disease was rife as a result. Some 40 years ago, or thereabouts, the winter tax was abolished. But its legacy remains, as you can see, in squalid lodgings such as these, for example. I suppose Mr. Natsume's stipend for living here in London isn't very generous, perhaps. It would appear so. I've done a little digging, and discovered that these lodgings were offered at an extraordinarily low price. Ugh. Because the room is so awful, I should think. Apparently, Mr. Natsume only moved in here about a week ago. Yes, that's correct. However, I don't believe the low rent is explained by the shabby nature of the accommodation.
Oh?
Still, let us have a little relevance here. A matter not... Oh, fuck. I meant to click history and I clicked A by accident. Still, let us have little relevance here. A matter not worthy of further attention.
Are you sure? I'm curious now.
Well, I believe I told you all I can now.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes.
Ah, yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Was it not your intention to become a practitioner of law?
You remembered that, did you?
Will you perhaps be offering your services in this very matter, I wonder? To the occupant of this room, Mr. Natsume, was it?
I'm not sure.
Not sure? On what grounds?
Well, I actually defended someone in court here only yesterday.
Really? Well then, I congratulate you, sir, on an ambition realized, and so promptly, too.
Thing is, it's really made me question things. Am I right to believe in my clients? To trust in their innocence?
Yes, trust. Mr. Holmes.
Mr. Holmes. Mr. Natsume didn't do it, did he?
Ah ha ha ha! My dear fellow, I haven't the first idea.
Oh, but I thought that's why you were here. Didn't you come back to investigate?
Ah yes, that was indeed my initial intention. But there are simply too many fascinating books here. I couldn't possibly ignore them.
Oh, I see.
Nevertheless, there are two facts that I can state quite unequivocally. The man who fled the scene of the crime 2 days ago was a Japanese occupant of this room, and there are witnesses who swear to having seen the man commit the crime. That is all I can say. Oh, and one more thing.
Oh?
What is it, Mr. Holmes? Tell us. I cannot say with any certainty whether or not it is of relevance to this case, but I am quite sure that the retired army man who owns this property is hiding something.
Mr. Garrideb is... Mr. Holmes said as much before, actually.
Anyway, at present, that is really all that plays on my mind in relation to this case. Mr. Naruhodo, as yet, our investigations have uncovered nothing that could help establish Mr. Natsume's innocence.
No, you're right. Perhaps this time we probed a little deeper into Mr. Garrideb's secret.
Just remember, I cannot be sure whether the landlord's secret will prove to be of relevance or not. I wish you every success, of course, Mr. Naruhodo.
A busy man indeed. He's gone back to his book in the corner of the room. Anyway, hang on a second. Anyway, sorry about that, but I'm gonna have to end it off here because the next part, we're close to the end of the investigation, but the next part's kind of long. So, yeah, we're gonna have to end it off here. And next time on the Greatest Attorney Adventures, we're gonna be heading back up to see the Garridebs, and well, I guess you can imagine what's gonna be happening next. So, see you guys then. Take care.